Happy Maundy Thursday, everyone. Pastor George here with today's mailbag. And today's mailbag question is one that I cannot answer, but I'm going to attempt to anyway. And the question is from someone who said, in Luke 22:36, Jesus tells the disciples to buy a sword. But in Luke 22:51, Jesus tells the disciples to stop using the sword. The question is, why swords at all? And this is a really good question because it's difficult. So just to give context for at least the first verse, right? He's having the final supper with his disciples, right? And Jesus, this is right after they're having a debate about who's going to be greatest, right? Um, he talks and he's saying, you have to be willing to be last, right? That's the point. But he says, Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. But he replied, that's Simon, isn't Simon Peter, right? Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death. Jesus answered, I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me. Then Jesus asked them, when I sent you without purse or bag or sandals, did you lack anything? Nothing, they answered. He said to them, but now if you have a purse, take it, and also a bag. And if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. It is written, and he was numbered with the transgressors. And I tell you that this must be fulfilled in me. Yes, what is written about me is reaching its fulfillment. But the disciples said, see, Lord, here are 2 swords. That's enough, he replied. So, it's interesting, right? So there might be several things that are going on, and I really can't answer this because it's a really difficult passage. I always joke, and maybe I'm somewhat serious about having this be the passage that's read at my funeral. So whoever has to preach on it has to try and make sense of this. That's kind of my last way of going out with a joke, right? Because this is one of the most difficult Bible passages that people have had to interpret. People do not really have an idea of what Jesus is talking about, and it's really funny. And this has been true throughout church history. So, for instance, a big way of reading this passage in the Middle Ages and the Reformation era was understanding this to mean that the church has 2 swords, right? And that means that's supposed to be a resemblance of what the relationship between the church and the state is supposed to be like. As in, the church has a sword that it uses in order to keep its things in line, and the state has a sword in order to keep its things in line. I do not think that that's what this passage is talking about. That seems to be very much people in the Middle Ages and the Reformation era reading into the Bible their own context. Even if they're all really smart, like Luther and Calvin and various Catholic thinkers and stuff like that. So it's just it doesn't seem like that's what's going on here. It could be that Jesus is fulfilling a prophecy, right? He actually quotes one here from Isaiah 53:12, right? That's what he's saying. It is written, and he was numbered with the transgressors. Transgressors can be like rebels or people who are being going against the status quo and stuff like that. And so certainly having his disciples buy swords is a way of fulfilling that prophecy. That could be what he's doing as well. He also could be saying there's an idea here that it's going to be dangerous, right? You as my disciples after I'm gone, you are going to face persecution, and it's going to be dangerous. And so buying a sword is evidence that you are stepping into that danger. I don't really know which one. I haven't been able to do a ton of research, right? This has kind of just been the stuff that I've done in reference to this question in order to kind of fight these different positions against each other. I think just looking at it, right, I think this is Jesus fulfilling a prophecy. Because he makes that explicitly kind of clear in verse 37. It is written, and he was numbered with the transgressors. And I tell you that this must be fulfilled in me. Yes, what is written about me is reaching its fulfillment, right? So he's saying that you're doing this in order to show that I am the Messiah, right? And that would also make sense because, as we know both later in this chapter, as the writer points out, but also in other Gospels, right? In the Gospel of Matthew, like, they attack someone with a sword and Jesus tells them, no, you can't do that, right? So it seems as though it's this idea that Jesus is fulfilling this prophecy. I think we can think about it similarly when he says, I do not come to bring peace, but a sword. Like, obviously, he's not talking about literal violence when he's talking about that, in the sense of like his disciples are going to go out and commit violence on people, right? It's really more of this idea that my teachings are going to come and they're going to bring this type of stuff. And of course, with Jesus, all of these two things can be true, right? Both can be true at once, in the sense that it's going to be dangerous and you have to prepare yourselves. But at the same time, by preparing yourselves, it's going to fulfill this prophecy, right? It could be both. The only thing that's good about me not really having a satisfying answer to this question is the fact that I'm completely in line with church tradition, which means that a lot of people really struggle to understand what Jesus was talking about here. So it's a good question. It's not the greatest commandment, so but it is one of Jesus's commandments, I guess. So I guess it's somewhat appropriate for Maundy Thursday. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and happy Easter if I do not see you on Sunday, and I will see you guys next week for more Theologs. Peace out.